Hey folks, how we doing today? KC here. What I'm going to do today, I'm going to do a video on three dual sport bikes that I have here behind me. I have a CRF250L, a DRZ400S in the middle, and a KTM 350exc-f. The CRF is a 2014, the DRZ is a 2013, and the 350 is a 17. I'm just going to get the camera here and I'll show you the bikes and kind of go over a little bit with each one. I'm going to tell you a little bit what I use each one for, and I'll kind of give you my thoughts on which one I think is the kind of the best all-around bike. So I'll get the camera here and kind of go over these and show you what's up. Okay, we'll go over to the CRF 250L here first. This is a 14. It has kind of most of all the common mods. You got the exhaust. It's got, I believe that's the Mega Bomb FMFQ4. It does have a fuel programmer. It's got the Cherby's oversized tank, a different seat. I can't believe that's from Wheeling Cycle Supply. It was the whole seat. I can't remember what that's from. That one's got a moose rack on it. It does have the spring, the extra spring in the front from Race Tech, and also a heavier spring from Race Tech for my weight for 200 pounds on it. Just some typical other stuff. There's bar risers on it, stuff like that. No major engine mods or anything like that. And right here, this is the DRZ400S. By the way, this CRF, that's a 2014 with updated plastics. I have had that bike since 2014. So I have, about 6 years on that bike. There's probably just under 4,000 miles on it. The DRZ, this is a 2013. Now I've only owned this particular DRZ for probably a year and a half, and I bought it bone stock. I've done all the mods to it, but I've had DRZ 400s off and on from the year 2000 and up, so I have a good 10 years on the DRZ 400s. This one has, let me get it here, Pro Circuit exhaust on it. It is Jetta with the JD Jet kit. Of course, these bikes all have a tail tighty on them. Those are the Edge. That one's just kind of a Cherby's homemade one that I did there. Of course, this has oversized tanks. Suspension is stock on this. I took off the 1970s boots and put some seal savers on there. To me, it looks a little better. It's got an updated front fender on it from a 2019 RMZ 450. It also has the bar risers on it. Typical stuff like that. Nothing real crazy as far as that goes. And of course here we have the 350exc-f. This is a 2017. This thing, as far as emissions and motor, is bone stock. There's no exhaust, no tuner. To me, I just don't need it. I mean, even riding this bike hard, it has plenty of power for me and for what I need to use it for. I do have just some protection items on here: skid plate, the motor guards from a Cherby's, frame guards, disc brake guard. This bike does have tubeless in the rear. And of course, the little tail tighty that I did with a Cherby's tail light on there. It has bar risers also, and just a couple other little odds and ends. Now the thing is with these bikes, you know, I use these, you might say, why do you have all three of these? Well, I've always, every few years I change out, go to different dual sports and that type of deal. And I just like to try different stuff and see what works for me. Now, as far as what do I use these bikes for? Well, the CRF250L, these bikes will all do basically, they can all perform the same task, just get it at a different level. Other than extreme enduro, or as far as if you're, you know, gonna enter a GNCC race or a hare scramble, there's no argument the KTM is what you need as far as that. But these bikes, they've all been on the same trails that I ride locally, mud, water, stream crossings, hill climbs. They all basically do all the same thing. Now, as far as the CRF, that bike, I would say I prefer that for, you know, running around town, doing some light trail riding, like scouting for deer spots, anything like that, or if I'm riding with like a group of ATVs or side-by-sides, I do like to use the CRF for that. Then of course you go over to the 350exc-f, which is the other end of the spectrum. This bike will do everything the CRF will do. I mean, I have the wheels balanced. It goes down the you can take this down the highway, 70 miles an hour. There's no shake. Sure, if you're going past semis or a lot of trucks and vehicles on the highway passing you at a fast pace, it will get a little squirrely, but it gets down the road just fine. And of course, the DRZ, that's kind of the all-around bike. With these three bikes, if I had to pick, what I'm going to get down to, I ride all these bikes. I love them. I use the KTM basically if I'm riding with my boys or any guys I ride with that want to ride hardcore, fast through the woods. That's the bike I'm going to take. Like I said, if I'm putting around on trails, doing easy trails or exploring, I prefer the CRF. But one thing's for sure, the DRZ, I know it's got a carburetor on it and kind of outdated suspension, I guess some guys would say, and it's definitely heavier than the 350. But the thing is, with the DRZ, you can put pannier racks on this from Rocky Mountain, and this bike will make a great lightweight adventure bike compared to, in my opinion, both of these bikes, this would be the one. If I could only own one bike out of all of these, I would definitely pick the DRZ400. I know it has the carburetor on it, but if you're riding out in the woods, I do a lot of riding by myself out in the woods. The other two bikes, if the fuel injection pump goes, the fuel pump in the tank, you're basically screwed. The DRZ, it's not going to happen. You're going to get back home. Even if something gets plugged in the carburetor, you can pull it off quick in the bush and get it fixed if you got to get home. You can like I said, you can put the pannier racks on it. You can light adventure it. You can take everything off. I mean, I ride this bike very, very hard in the woods, and I love it. It's a great bike. But as far as all of them, I love them all, but they all have a different purpose. To me, you can never find the one dual sport that's going to do everything. But out of these three bikes, you know, if you were to ask me which one do you think is the best and the best all-around bike, sure, best components, bike, KTM. As far as reliability and the best all-around bike, got to go with the DRZ400. I mean, you can't beat it. I mean, it's, you know, basically you can pick these up used. That one when I got it was $4,000 with 1,000 miles on it in 2013. The KTM, when I bought it new in 17, out the door it was about $9,700. And of course the CRF, that you're going to spend, you know, $52,000 to $6,000, you know, getting it out the door at your dealership. But I love all three of the bikes. I really haven't had any issues with any of them. The CRF's been great. I haven't had any issues with it. The DRZ, that was bought secondhand, of course, no issues with it. The JD Jet Kit is great. It makes it much easier to start, like on a cooler morning. There's a lot of times I don't even got to pull the choke and that bike will fire right up now. The KTM, the only issue I have with that is that the cam chain tensioner did go right about 1,200 miles. I'm going to say, I think there's 60 hours on the bike, and I did have to replace that. It was having a lot of slap. So I did put a Dirt Tricks tensioner in that. But other than that, they all fire up, they all run good, very reliable. But I would definitely go. I know guys are going to bash me on this, but the king of these three bikes, in my opinion, is the DRZ400. I mean, you just can't beat it for reliability and versatility. But regardless of what dual sport you have, get out, enjoy those trails, get outside. And if you have any questions or comments, put them down below. Remember to like and subscribe. If you have any questions about any of these bikes or anything I have on them, feel free to comment, and have a good one. I'll see you folks.